Social media is a major part of our daily lives. Hours can be spent scrolling through various feeds, liking, commenting, and sharing photos and videos with our friends and family. You know, social media is a relatively new topic and unique in the fact that it is both broad and relatively uncensored. The ability to share our opinions with the world in real time has completely transformed the way we live, for better and for possibly even worse.
Regardless of your opinions on social media, you cannot deny it's become a strong factor in our society today. This helps us so much. Helps us get our information and helps us stay in contact with the people that we love.
Social media is a great way of keeping us connected to friends and family. I mean, it's also a great way of meeting new people, especially now more than ever. We want to learn more about new people and about the ones we hold dear.
It's a great way for all of us to communicate with each other. You can communicate with people that you would never be able to communicate without it. With the press of a button, you can communicate with someone in China, in Germany, in France, whatever.
There are tons of content creators online putting some of their best work online. And although some of these projects may take years to develop, it may seem a little instantaneous and overwhelming to someone from a distance.
Social media, from Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever platform you're on, is full of content creators, writers, performers, actors, singers, dancers, you name it. People who have that artistic side, is it's a platform where you can show off your craft, you can put yourself out there, you can network, you can meet people, you can support other creators. It doesn't cost anything. 9 times out of 10 you can find who you like and put out whatever you're creating. Just get yourself out there.
If an influencer is showcasing a house project that would normally take 6 to 8 weeks, we're kind of getting bits of highlights, and we have this strange idea of how long things really do take. I think that can have we need to be very mindful consumers of our social media when we're kind of and putting things through a realistic scope. Especially for the accounts that we're watching that do this as a profession versus those of us who just do it as a hobby or something that we enjoy. They might have the means to do so or the funds to do something that we wouldn't necessarily, have the same access to. It doesn't mean that we're, less than or incapable. It just means that we have different opportunities presented to us.
It can be tempting to spend all day scrolling through Instagram or other forms of social media to keep up with other people's lives. But it's important to be mindful of the fact that not everything you see online is a reality.
Realize that reality is very different from social media, or even very different from somebody will say something to you online, but they won't actually say that to you in person sometimes too. So it helps you to get that disconnect of okay, this is social media, this is reality, and it's not the same.
Although social media can look like a glittering world, many of the things that you see on there are over glamorized or even fabricated to make them look more glamorous and more impressive than they actually seem to be. It's extremely easy to Photoshop almost anything, to edit video footage, to put people in pictures when really they weren't even there in the first place. And it's very important that you keep in mind that not everything is as glamorous as it may seem.
So social media can extend issues related to depression and anxiety because people engage in social comparison. So you see this perfect representation of someone on social media. It could be your friends or your family, and you feel inadequate because you don't feel like you measure up to this representation that they're putting out there on social media. It's very important for someone in terms of their mental health to identify the difference between how people represent themselves on social media versus who they are in the real world.
What someone portrays in their social media, that's not who they actually are in real life. It's not an accurate representation of what they do in their day-to-day lives. What it really is just a highlight reel. For example, you're not going to post a bad picture on Instagram. You're only going to post the picture with a really good angle, really good lighting, and something that makes you look flattering, which there's nothing wrong with that. But you shouldn't compare yourself like that. That's a good way to ruin your self-esteem.
Over the years, social media has given rise to cyberbullies, sexual predators, and hate speech. If you go on any social media, you'll find a slew of opinionated people.
The past few years, platforms like Twitter and Facebook have seen a rise in hate speech and threatening messages. YouTube comments are notoriously filled with people saying terrible things seemingly hidden behind a screen. For better or for worse, social media is a cesspool of people with different ideologies and backgrounds. It's important to listen, discuss, and learn whatever you can. You just have to be aware that people are generally not good, and everyone has a long ways to go in terms of growth. No matter how bad things may seem when interacting with someone, there's always something to take away from that experience.
As the number of people who use social media continues to rise, you can't ignore the number of privacy concerns that are rising with it.
The truth of it all is that there are a large number of predators roaming around social media apps like TikTok and Snapchat, looking for those susceptible to their games. You don't really know anyone online. It's easier than ever to pretend to be someone you're not.
Please be cautious of who you're talking to. Not everybody is who they say they are. Catfishes exist. A catfish is somebody who pretends to be somebody that they're not by stealing their photo, identity, what they're interested in, and their hobbies. When a catfish messages you, please be careful, because they can look extremely real. However, if you get a slightest bit of hesitation of, is he really the person behind the screen, or is she really the person behind the screen, block them. 9 times out of 10, they have very, very malicious intentions, whether it be scamming you for money, giving you a virus on your phone, computer, or anything, or even worse.
It's important that you only add people that you know to your personal profiles. Although networking and connecting with new people is great, they don't need to see every detail of your personal life.
Personally say keep everything as private as possible. Like with family and friends, it's one thing, but like I know people will friend request me on Facebook and I'm like, okay, we might have mutual friends, but I don't know that person, so I'm not going to accept.
You don't know them, you don't know their intentions. You wouldn't just walk up and start talking to someone you don't know. Well, if you do, that's okay, but I mean like online, you don't know who they are. They could like look nice and friendly, but behind that smile is a terrible, evil person.
It's important to keep in mind that while social media can seem like your own little bubble, your own little world, it's really not. On social media, you're connected with everyone, everywhere, all over the world. And things that you post can be seen by those people if they get into the wrong hands. It's extremely easy for things to go viral. One person shares it, 2 people share it, and then the tweet's gone viral before you have a second to blink, and that's not always a good thing. You might think it may be, because oh yay, I'm famous. The things that I shared, everybody's seen them. But what if you shared something negative? Or what if something about you got posted that paints you in a really negative light and then everyone's seen it? That's really not good. So you have to keep in mind that the things that you post on the internet not only can go viral, but that even if it doesn't go viral first, it's entirely possible that somebody could screenshot it, save it, or put it in somewhere in their computer or on their phone and then post it again months or years later, and it can go viral then, even if it's not new.
Always keep in mind that everything you post online could potentially be saved and found. Think through the things that you've posted. Are you comfortable with your parents, grandparents, or even future employees potentially seeing the things that you've posted?
Being cognizant of how you represent yourself on social media, I think that's very important, that you're putting your best foot forward, especially depending on what type of profession or area of the job market that you might want to aspire to in your future life.
You know, not sharing like a bunch of personal information, especially like when you're younger, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, just like tweeting whatever you want or saying whatever you want on like Facebook or whatever you use. But it like might come back to haunt you when you get older, or you know, it'll be cringy to look at. Also, you know, if you give a bunch of your information out there, people might know more things about you that you wouldn't want them to later down the line. So just maybe be a little more chill and careful.
It's very important to watch what you're going to post on social media. You want to make sure that you're always putting yourself out there as something that an employer would want to hire you from. You don't want to have anything negative on like your own feed or anything that someone could post about you, different things like that, because that inevitably will follow you the rest of your life.
Remember that what you post on social media, on the internet in general, what you post on the internet in general, it's never going to go away. You can't just, I mean, you can delete it, but somebody might have screenshotted it. If you post a video, somebody might have saved it. So please make sure to only post something that is representative of who you are as a person. Because if someone takes a screenshot of something that you said out of context, you could get canceled. You know, cancel culture is a really big thing now. So you don't want to get caught up in that. I promise you, you don't want to get caught up in that.
If you're mindful of how to stay safe online, social media and the internet can be a great place to grow and build with others.
If they've ever gotten the message of, social media is bad, it's not, I don't subscribe to that. I don't agree with that. It's just asking, like, are you using it to serve you and serve others in the best way? And so if we all are keeping that in mind, I think that this would be, the controversy of any social media would be, not the main talking points each time, or there'd be less bad and ugly and much more of the good out there.
I think use social media to your advantage as much as you possibly can. It's a great tool for networking, communication, getting involved with your peers in school in terms of clubs and organizations and stuff like that. But also be cognizant of the negative potential impacts of social media. Understand that things that you post on social media, interactions, conversations, are there for life, and they're not owned by you. Once you're using a social media platform, they're owned actually by the company that owns the platform. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc., etc. Understanding that social media is a great way to interact and develop community, but it's also a great way to build your persona. You can use social media to make money, you can become an influencer. There's so many great opportunities to use social media in a positive way. So to understand the balance of both.
There are a lot of ways to use it positively for marketing purposes, for just overall creation, for networking, for friendships, for collaborations and professional environments. It's not just personal, it's not just professional, it's whatever you make of it. It's a tool. And as most tools go, you can build whatever you need, whatever you want, whatever suits you best. It all just depends on how you use it.
Social media is such a major part of our daily lives, and it's not something that's just going to go away anytime soon. Although there are a lot of dangers to using social media, there are also a ton of benefits. So if we all do our part, we can make the internet a little safer. And that's all that matters.
If you do find yourself in the negative aspects of social media, if you're getting bullied, please tell it to a trusted person, such as a close friend, teacher, adult, parent, doesn't matter. We just want you to be safe at the end of the day.
Stay safe on social media and don't be getting into stuff that you're not supposed to be.
Happy web surfing.